Minimalism is all about getting rid of the clutter that does not serve you and only keeping the things that you love and that you use and that you need. That is what we're doing today. I'm going to talk to you about some minimalist habits that I have. I'm going to just kind of go through a bunch of them. I've got a lot to share today because I think these are habits that could honestly be life-changing. They could really make things at your home better. These offer huge benefits: saving time, saving money, saving the environment, giving yourself back some sanity. So let's get started. Okay, so the first is about clothing, and I'm not going to say the usual minimalistic thing like have a capsule wardrobe or don't buy so many pieces of clothing or declutter your clothing. What I'm going to say here is to take care of your clothes, and if you can, fix any clothing that you do have. So sometimes I'll get a hole in something or a seam will break, and I will just think, oh, well, the sweater's done now. But instead, find somebody who can sew it. Figure out how you can make that piece of clothing last as long as possible. I actually have lots of clothing now that I've had for like 15 or 20 years. I still wear it on a daily basis. As a matter of fact, this shirt I'm wearing now, I think it's at least 12 years old. I still wear it pretty regularly, and I've had to just sew a little hole in it at one point. Kind of along the same lines, another habit is to get one of those pill like defuzzers for your clothing. I can link the one that I have, but this has really helped to rejuvenate my clothing. I have tops that I think need to go in the garbage. They look really worn. They have pills all over them. I've run this defuzzer over them and they look brand new again. I also did it on my sofa. You could do it on carpets. It's just a great way to make something that's not looking the freshest and newest. You can make it look new all over again. Use half the amount of detergent that you use today for the future and going forward. I started doing this months ago. I didn't realize I was using way too much detergent, so now I just use half of the amount I previously did, and my clothes are great, clean, everything's fine. And another thing that I often do is I wash my clothing on cold water. Unless it needs to be sanitized, there's no need for hot water. And actually, my detergent even says to you that it works best on cold. And same with the dishwasher. When you're running your dishwasher, I do the shortest cycle possible. I have an eco setting and my dishes look clean and great. Okay, my next habit is I always have a water bottle with me wherever I go. If I'm going into the office, I bring my water bottle. If I'm going for a walk in the woods, I bring my water bottle. I also keep these stored in the car, just empty ones, so that when we're out, we can fill them. You'd be shocked at how many water fountains there are and how many water bottle refill stations there are. You can even take these to the airport. As long as they're empty, they can go right through. Anytime I go on a business trip, I make sure I have my water bottle with me. This prevents any emergency, like I need to buy a bottle of water or anything like that, because you've always got one with you. Okay, another thing is to make sure that you use up all of the products that you have. And I don't mean use up the products before you buy new ones. I actually mean a lot of times I have like shampoo and face lotions and things like that, and I just can't get the very bottom of the product out when it gets low. And I've seen a lot of people just throw it away at that point. I'm here to tell you, store it upside down and use it to the last drop. I had a face cream recently that maybe I would have thrown away. I flipped it over and I got another month of use out of it. Maybe that sounds obvious, but just wanted to say it because I know sometimes when the pump doesn't work anymore, you think it's probably empty, but there's still a ton left in there. Another thing I've advocated a ton for is to make your own cleaning products. In the comments, I can link a video on how to do that, but that has been life-changing for me. I no longer buy crazy harsh chemicals. I have maybe a couple things for specific tasks, but otherwise I just make my own. Next is to consider cloth napkins. I have about 12 of these. You can just toss them in the washing machine. They've really replaced the need for paper napkins. And then I highly recommend getting reusable paper towels. I have the bambooies. I can link those as well, but we don't use paper towels in our house anymore. I only use 1 or 2 a month for like things like cleaning the toilet, but otherwise no more paper towels. Next is to deal with things that come into your home immediately, whether that be mail or a delivery. Just get that paper clutter out of there as soon as it comes in. Also, make a list when you go shopping. I never go without a list. I will end up roaming around aimlessly and I will buy things I don't need. I get a list and I stick to it, and it really helps me out to only purchase what I need. Next is to batch errands and tasks. So if I need to go, say, to the post office and the grocery store, and they're next door to each other, I will go to the grocery store and then I will immediately go to the post office. I won't make like 2 separate trips. I batch them all together. One habit that I do and that I have found to be really helpful is to keep clutter off the floor. I read this thing once that People perceive things on the floor as a threat. This kind of goes back to like cavemen days. I think that piles of things on the floor, whether it be like clothing or books or toys or whatever it is stressful, and it does stress me out. So I no longer allow things to be in piles on the floor. I just get that clutter up off the floor. Okay, another habit is to turn off your phone notifications that aren't from people. I don't know about you, but when my phone beeps and I get a notification, I immediately feel like I have to do something. I feel like I need to respond or react in some way. I don't want an app pushing a notification to me. The only time I want to get a notification is if somebody's trying to reach me, like if they're calling me or texting me and it's an actual person, I'm okay with the notification for that. But if it's like the weather app telling me that it's about to rain, that's stressful for me. So I no longer allow my phone to send me those notifications. I just shut them off. Along the same line with your phone, also shut off that raise to wake feature. Whenever I lift my phone and it glows, you know, whether I'm moving it or doing something with it and I see that glowing screen, it like beckons me to come and start using my phone and waste my time. So I've shut that feature off. Now when I lift up my phone, it no longer lights up, and that has like alleviated that problem for me. Okay, this one's a little bit interesting, but I think it's actually something really great that we've started doing with our kids. And it's just to take 1 minute every day to think about what you're grateful for, and then you can say it verbally. Whether you just say it to yourself or you say it to your family or you say it to a friend, I think it's really good to take 60 seconds each day and reflect on that. And it's got to be something specific and unique to the day. That's what I always tell the kids, because sometimes they'll just get lazy and they'll be like, oh, I'm grateful I have a house. That is not how this works. I tell them they need to be grateful for something specific that happened today. Focus on quality over quantity. I know a lot of times I will go to the store and I will just look for the best deal, maybe buy the cheapest thing. I have to tell you, over the years, I have figured out that the cheapest is not the best, and what ends up happening is you end up having to replace it sooner. It's bad for the environment. So just shop around and don't just buy something because it's cheaper. Make sure you go for quality. And I think there are some specific things that you need to make sure that you're buying quality things. Toothbrushes, for example, they need to be quality. Tires on your car, quality. Pillows that you sleep on all night, knives that you use. Sometimes cheaper is fine. You really just have to sort of decide, but I think don't default to the cheaper option, because in the end, it's actually going to be the more expensive option. Next is to ask for experiences rather than physical gifts. I do that with my family. I tell them, you know, for the kids, just put money in their college fund or get them pass for something that they can do. I think that those kind of things to give as gifts are really great. Next, use the library. Okay, moving on to food. Bring your lunch to work. I've been doing this for decades. It saves money, it saves time, it saves waste from, you know, the packaging that you get at the restaurants. So I strongly advocate for that. Speaking of restaurants, this one may be a little controversial. Maybe you think it's a little bit weird, but if you are going to a restaurant and you know that you're gonna have leftovers, just bring your own leftover container. I have these little glass lock containers. I can just slip them in my purse. And when I'm sitting at the table, if I want to take something home, I could just put it right in that container. It's so easy to do. Maybe you feel a little bit awkward about it, but I promise you, it is not weird. I think it's great. And next is to eat similar meals as much as you can. I typically make the same thing every other week. You know, I try to kind of keep it consistent. I have found that this really eliminates the question of like decision fatigue on like, what are we going to have for dinner? It also really helps to not have food waste, because we know the ingredients that we often use up and that we buy and we always have on hand. And we're not like trying to figure out, oh, we have this random ingredient from that meal we made. What should we do with it now? Keep your home a little bit warmer in the summer if you can stand it, and a little bit cooler in the winter. This will save you money on your utility bills. And then a bigger thing that you can do is your thermostat on a timer and set it. This is a great thing to do. It will save you money, and it will also help keep your house regulated. Another minimalist thing is grow a garden if you can. I wish that we had like a lot of land and I could have my own garden. We don't, so I do container gardening outside. I live in a row house, so I also have the click and grow, and I do herbs in there. We don't have windows kind of in the middle rooms of our home, in the kitchen in particular. So the click and grow comes really in handy there, and I get a lot of herbs from my little garden there. And then composting. There's tons of videos on YouTube if you want to figure out how to get this started. I find it to be super simple. We just do this in our backyard. We also have a garbage disposal, which I think is on some level a little bit of composting, but for other things, we use our backyard, especially for like leaves and clippings and things like that. We throw those into the pile and they're gone within like months. So look into composting if it's something that interests you. Another habit that I picked up years ago is to use baskets or plates or bowls to corral items on countertops and surfaces. This has made such a huge difference for me. It's really reduced visual clutter, and it's really helpful, especially when you're in a space and you need these items, but you don't want to just have them all sitting out. Just stick them in a basket. And then what's particularly helpful here is once that basket gets full, you know you either need to declutter that basket or you need to use up everything in the basket before you can put anything else in it. Okay, we're getting to the end. So let me just tell you a couple things having to do with cleaning that I think are also minimalist habits that you can adopt here. But the first thing is about your cleaning supplies. Figure out what cleaning supplies that you have and what rooms that they need to clean, what you use in which room, and then store those materials in those rooms so that you always have them handy and you can always use them. This way, you will see the products, you will know that they're there for your use, you won't have to look around for things or maybe misplace them and then go rebuy it when you already had it. It's just a lot easier. And then my all-time favorite is to establish some routines. I think making some daily and weekly cleaning routines so that it just becomes habit. Just minimal routines. Things like making your bed each day, putting your house to bed each night, tidying the bathroom a little every day, just small things that you can do, little routines and habits that are minimal but will keep your home on track. Forget perfection. Minimalism is not about perfection. It's just simply something we're doing every day to better our homes and better our lives. And honestly, we live in our homes, so we can't expect them to be perfect at all times, right? Well, thanks so much for watching. I hope these minimalist habits gave you some good ideas, and I hope that they're helpful to you. I'm going to go ahead and link a video on if you want to keep on going with minimalism. It is right here. Click on it, and I will see you over there. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.